Hey y'all, and welcome to my page. I'm Queen Koi, and thank you for being here. Today, we're going to be exploring the High Priestess of the Major Arcana, where we're going to explore a little bit of facts and a lot more messages from the card. I wanted to do this so I can actually inspire people to be more intuitive with the card readings instead of relying on the book. And really just gathering people and studying and sharing things that I know to really build up my Queen of Wands Club. For those that don't know about that, definitely check out the link below. Um, if you want to join the journey along, this is definitely a great space to do so. I'm totally focusing on that as well as my artwork here. So if you are interested in all of the above, definitely check that out. You also get VIP membership if you choose to sign up. That allows you to have private meetups, discounts, and personal readings for your leisure and your journey, of course. Um, so, without further ado, I just want to get right into this High Priestess energy. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to invite you just to take a deep breath with me. Just one deep breath. All right, we're just going to soften our gaze, close our eyes, and slowly breathe in through the nose and slowly exhale out through the mouth, shaking off any debris, any energy that is not serving your highest good. No matter what time you're watching this, I just want you to tap in and tune into your heart space and be guided by the messages that come through from the High Priestess, okay? So, I just want to share this picture just so you can just look at the symbolism. If you don't understand the symbolism, you can check out the symbolism by Googling High Priestess, right? Things like this, right? I just want you to explore on your own to understand the symbolism here, right? And it is ruled by the moon, as you can see, the moon in the headdress that she has on, right? And a lot of this here you can read, right? Or you can also read in my blog how I break it down. Just going to share this with you, right? And then in its shadow phase, it's like this, all right? So we're going to be exploring a lot of this in our journey together to see what messages come through from the High Priestess. This is going to be very interesting. What else do you want to do here? I'm going to be giving a general message. There's an overall message that the High Priestess wants to share with us. I'm going to be giving a heart space message, a love message, whether you be in a relationship or self-love. All my love messages are about self-love first and foremost anyway. And then we're going to get into the career of what the High Priestess wants to share with you about your career. Okay? So without further ado, let's get into this message. Okay. So we have, I seek abundance of self-love. Beautiful, beautiful. And then we have, there isn't enough. I'm not enough, and I need more. Let's put this right here. And then we have this card, which says boundaries. This card that says gift. And this card that says silence. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so let's start with this heart chakra. Let's start with this heart chakra. I find this very interesting because the High Priestess is one that walks between worlds. She walks between the earthly realm and the spiritual realm, which again, light and dark, yin and yang. She finds balance within herself because she has balance within the heart space. This is very interesting. Let me open myself up here because I'm finding that this message that is being spoken about the High Priestess is the abundance. She understands, she has an abundance flow of the spiritual realm. But she knows this and she opens herself up to that abundance flow by creating a connection with spirit. And through that connection is the heart space. She has to know that she's abundant because if she doesn't, she's in lack, right? And with being in lack can make one with great gifts, especially great spiritual gifts, feel very daunting, can feel very overwhelmed, and feel, in layman's term, batshit crazy. Okay? Because if you have this abundance, this channel of energy that allows spirit to speak through. And when I say spirit, I'm speaking about spirit in general. That means any types of spirits you're connecting with, right? It can be very hard to understand this, especially if you don't trust these gifts, right? And I'm looking at this gift here because this is like the spirit. In the spiritual realm, we have mythical creatures and things that people talk about, but really haven't quite seen, right? It's something that you see from your own self, right? Even if, let's just kind of use loose terms, right? Even if you see like a ghost, for instance, right? If you're with another person and they have the ability to see too, 9 times out of 10 they might not see exactly what you're seeing. And that goes in the mundane world where you see a plant, right, that is green and vibrant. The other person is not going to see that same color green. It just doesn't work that way. We all have our unique gifts. And for a long time myself, I didn't like the word psychic because it's usually to one's perspective of what that is. And in the mundane world, or the world that I come from, a lot of times psychic is perceived as someone that can see the future, right? But psychic abilities are actually intuitive abilities, and intuitive abilities are one that connects with your own creative spirit, which is in tune with your senses, right? So these senses are the clairs that we speak of in the esoteric realm. Um, and they connect with each sense, right? Sight, smell, taste, hearing, right? What is that? There's one more, touch, right? And there's a lot of clairs that go into that. The only ones that come up to mind for me is clairaudience and clairvoyant. There's clairsentience, there's claircognance, right? There's a few other clairs too. But this is the thing, right? When we're talking about psychic, there's a lot. But to one that only has this little bit of perspective, it's not going to connect, right? And the high priestess needs to know herself through her heart space, first and foremost, because that is what helps her turn on the channel, if you may. And I'm feeling like story time's coming on because it took me a long time to understand that you too, right, as a human being and a soul and a spirit, you must have boundaries to the spiritual realm too. Now, some people, I don't know back in the day if they had high priestesses like go through the training, right? And they go through, what is that called? Initiations, right? They had people, living people guiding them through a process to help them learn their own, right? But in these days and times, especially in the wild, wild west of 2020 and thereon, I feel like there has been a floodgates of new energies and even this new age spirituality and even people that have studied spirituality for years right now, right? I'm sure they're still seeing um, new developments of connecting, right? And understanding. Toot, yes, right? So, me going back to the boundaries, there's a definite need to have boundaries within the start of your process, within the closing of your process, which is totally reminding me right now of when I first learned Reiki. Let's get into story time. I first learned Reiki when I was, I believe, 21, 20. And my mom always was a guide to my career path, which makes sense now that I look at my birth chart because her rising sign is the same as my 10th house, which is for career, right? But anyway, I was going through like this battle of trying to understand if I wanted to do graphic design, which was my love and heart at the time. But I was discouraged, very much discouraged from people that I was meeting um, along that path. And a lot of the leaders and teachers and guidance that was around me to help me discover my craft, whether it be graphic design or my spiritual gifts, right? They always bounded with jealousy, or at least I've always felt that jealousy and some type of just distortion that did not make me feel comfortable learning from them. And the things that they taught me usually weren't from their mouth, but was from their spirit, where it would be incidences that just didn't feel good and I had to walk away. But the lesson from walking away was gained, if that makes any sense, you know? So it's like I would show up for these things that I thought I was going to learn, and I wind up learning something else that was more spiritual, less mundane. And going back to Reiki, right? I came across Reiki when I was doing massage therapy. Um, I I studied graphic design for a year and a half, homesick but yet confused and dealing with trauma from a past relationship that I didn't quite let go at the time of. And because my mom and my father, like my dad, like they're very into learning, right, and studying. But my mom was more the beacon to be like, you can't just not do anything. Like, you're coming home from college, you don't understand what you're trying to do. How about do this, right? And I believe that I spoke a little bit about this this story in the previous one, which was the magician, possibly even the fool card, right? And fast forward to the massage therapy, getting um, abundance, getting a free ride basically. And I'm like, whoa, this never happened to me. Let's do this. Um, I explored the whole chapter of the healing arts. That was something I didn't even know. They didn't even call it the healing arts, but it was something that I was like, okay, cool, right? But then Reiki was like my eyes totally, because we had to take like a few electives, if you may, was that adds on to massage therapy. It's kind of like CE courses, continuing education. But we had to learn that through, besides all the bones and the muscles, right? So if anybody that studied massage therapy that's watching this, shout out to y'all because y'all know. But my eyes went straight to Reiki, and I'm like reading the description and I'm like, whoa, like taken away. Not by the description, just by how I felt about reading it. And I remember it was a Saturday class, because Saturday classes we used to do that, or practicals. And I remember the teacher coming in talking about it, and I just was like, I am so ready for this. And she gave us our attunement. My attunement, I have never at that time experienced that. I remember seeing things in my mind's eye, right? they didn't really speak much about chakras, which was very interesting to me. But um, they gave us like the very, very, very basics of it. And I've heard of the third eye. Everybody's heard of the third eye, but I don't know about now, but definitely when was this? 2007, 2008. I don't know. The people that I hung around, they didn't speak of this. This was all new to me, but I was so guided to this. And my mind was blown because when I saw that, and I remember like I had physical sensations, like just everything that was so new to me. And looking back, I kind of feel like that was an initiation for my soul to be turned on live. And all the channels that I forgot were there turned on. And I was dealing with trying to find alignment. I didn't have the words to speak it, but I was dealing with Pluto in my fifth house. And I think I have Saturn in my natal chart in that fifth house, right? And it's a Sagittarius house for me. It was a lot going on that I didn't have the depths of what I know now, clearly. But it was so profound, right? Um, so profound because I always felt like I did have my finger on a pulse. I always believed in signs, but these signs weren't spoken about within the religions that I know, right? And I was always interested in like mystical stuff, and it just always seemed like around that time, like what was black and white was this is religion, and this is some other mystical stuff that most people don't tap into. But I was very curious. And I've even had people say that I've literally had somebody say to my face, they weren't telling me that I was evil, but I took it that way. But they were like, oh, chakras and stuff like that is like the devil. It's pretty evil. And I'm just like, what? Huh? And, I think she was a Christian woman or something like that. But I battled for a long time of those black and white perspectives. And I'm speaking on this because to me, I feel like, you ever heard of weed being the gateway of the drugs or something? Reiki was the gateway to the mystical healing arts, as well as I believe now that Reiki is the gateway of all energy types of work, right? Whether it be tarot, whether it be more so energy working of like, now I'm getting lost for words, right? Uh, I don't know, y'all. I'll come back to that because I want to stay in this energy. Um, but I'm bringing this story up because there were a lot of mystery and secrets that I got breadcrumbed from there on out to the journey of my entrepreneurship. And this is why I feel strongly that I believe that your entrepreneurship journey is a spiritual journey. For me, I was following the breadcrumbs just like Hansel and Gretel to this house of mysticism and understanding. And um, even to the blind witch in the Hansel and Gretel Grimm's story, right? Again, the teachers that I came to knock on the door to give me some type of guidance and understanding would wind up turning into like this evil witch almost and scaring me off or make me feel totally uncomfortable, where spirit would step in and be like, yeah, nah, this isn't happening. But because of my distortion from my perspective, from my truths, right? And this heavy trauma that I was carrying that I didn't quite understand at that moment really messed with my gifts. And it made it almost like a jaggedness how it would come in. It made it very fast how it would come in, almost like I'm seeing things within the anxiety. Um, Almost like if I'm driving down a highway at 100 miles per hour and I'm expected to see a sign that pops up, literal pun intended sign, like a billboard, right? But these signs would be something else. And it would come to me almost like if anybody else used to see That's So Raven, that Disney movie with Raven Simone, I think her name is, right? Um, that series, how she would get premonitions, that's how it felt for me. It would be like, and I'm like, oh shit, right? And I'd have premonitions that just did not feel good. And I'd question it because I'm like, oh, I had a dream. And then later down the line, something would happen, but it would be like an alarm. I didn't like it. It was very fearful. A lot of the gifts brought up a lot of fear. But just like what goes bump in the night, right? The shadows. It's nothing to fear. I want to say a few years ago when I started coaching people, I remember this wonderful woman. Um, I told her, like, I think it's time to start exploring shadow work. And I could feel her unsaid words. And I was like, what do you feel about that term? And she thought it was scary. And I told her how, me too. The term did sound scary. And I felt scary at first too. But it's nothing to be afraid of because it's just about things that are hidden. And here we are, right? The high priestess that speaks about secrets, that speaks about hidden things. Your intuition, a lot of times, just leads you to things that do not make sense. I feel that their intuition is the opposite of logic, right? Just like creativity. Your creativity doesn't always make sense in the beginning because you may not know how to process the creativity. You may not know how to go from point A to point Z. Right? But it's the exploration between point A to point Z that brings you there. And if you're aligned with your goals, you're aligned with your intuition. And if you trust your intuition, you trust yourself, you trust your heart and your higher self, right? Then the soul of the journey of the soul is connecting to different points in time that turn the channel on, right? Or enliven your spirit. And this is what the message here that the high priestess is telling you, that through silence, right? Through trust and through the door, the purple door, just like her cloak, which connects with your crown chakra, which connects with the spiritual aspects of these planes, right? Planes of energy, if you may. We're opening and connecting and trusting the downloads, the messages that spirit brings to us, right? And I had to reign silence too because I was so used to growing up around a town that was not comfortable. I was from the hood, okay? Where I heard stories and actually grew up to be amongst stories that were around violence, gun violence, just a lot of drugs, a lot of low level things that you would be like, what in the world? Right? And so many people um, that lived within the town would always look at me, my family, as what in the world? Like we didn't belong. And for a long time, I did feel outcasted. And this is the shadow aspect of the high priestess as well, where she can feel outcasted because of this clouded insight, right? And feeling like, oh, what she sees or hears or feels is so far fetched from the norm or the mundane that she's living in the reality at that time, right? And because of this, though, a lot of it is repressed feelings, lack of center. Okay, I'm like, where am I? Lack of center, clouded insight. It's distortion. And for a long time, let that go by. For a long time, especially when that Reiki came, it was distorted, and I felt very much in victim because it was just like, why does this stuff keep happening to me? Even though I keep seeing signs and I do trust that they're from God, from spirit, from a loving source, this stuff does not feel good. And I'm talking about years. My entrepreneur to journey from this day is 10 years. I'm celebrating because I'm going to say I'm celebrating this journey I've had thus far, but it started before my entrepreneurship. started some years before that. I did drop you, I dropped the time frame of a year if you were listening, right? So what I can say though is learning the process, being grateful to actually be open to receive, right, will allow you to be open to receive the gifts, right, through intentions, through silence. And silence also means by not being around other people's energy too. Sometimes it's literally silence, right? But other times it's the silence of not being amongst everybody's energy, because the high priestess is like a walking live wire. She is taking in a lot of things here, and she has to learn a process to ground these things no matter what type of gift that you were given. And through that gift, you have to set boundaries. You have to set boundaries with spirit, and you have to set boundaries with other people too, because sometimes people come in your life to like clients per se, they come in your life to learn one thing. Maybe it was me coming into those teachers' lives to teach them something on loan too, right? But either way, um, everything happens for a reason. And because of that, you have to learn this process and stand tall within your intentions and your integrity to understand what you are actually receiving, because it is a responsibility um, for those that you are connecting with. If you have a business, to share these messages, uh, you have to have boundaries. I remember one time it was like, I cannot sleep good. Why couldn't I sleep good? Because I was being bombarded by spirits. And it doesn't happen every way. It doesn't always happen that way with people. Everybody's gift is different. Everybody's gift is unique. Everybody's process is different, and everybody's story is different. But to me, I am taking on the responsibility, but I'll say in light, I am inspiring people. Maybe someone out here really needs to hear this story, because there was a long time coming that I needed to hear other people's story. There was a long time coming where I needed to see other people that were familiar, right? See representation from my culture, um, and understanding of to trust the guidance I was even given, for a very long time. And when you hold stories of trauma within your soul, let alone within the lifetime that you're in at that moment, your subconscious and unconscious um, is going to kind of dictate on how to receive things. And this is why we need to learn to look within. Okay. So I'm going to start tapping into more of um, the messages from the love space of what High Priestess is sharing in the career. Okay. So let's get into this love space right now. Okay. So we have this love message here, right? That says, what can you do to not be so hard? Where are we? What can you do to not be so hard on yourself right now? We have the Four of Pentacles and what you think it speaks about. The Princess of Swords and the Ace of Swords. Okay. So being so hard on yourself. Let's talk about what this speaks about to me. What message is coming through to me from the High Priestess? Being hard on yourself while you're learning, right, just dampens the heart space. It unlevels the heart space. Because if you're speaking negativity to yourself, that's not self-love. It's not, right? Um, Speaking more loving ways to yourself would be more self-love, right? I don't know about you, but about me, when I'm hard on myself, I'm very critical, very analytical. I am this perfectionist, almost dictator that is pretty much just going off, right? And it's not compassionate. It's not the voice of compassion. A lot of times, it's not even the voice of reason. And I feel that this loving space is allowing you to tell you how to process and ground these energies. Four of Pentacles can be talking about being greedy and holding on to things, right? But it also talks about boundaries. It talks about grounding things in. And as you can see, it looks like he has like um, stars, some type of energy with his hands. And it's reminding me of Qigong, where we build a Qigong or Qigong energy within our hands, right? And um, this is connecting with your energy, your own energy. And your energy is one and the same as spirit, too. You know, it's almost like, well, I am spirit, I am God, but God is its own energy. I also want to say this because I love this quote. I searched for God and I found myself. I searched for myself and I found God. I love that saying. I found that amongst my, as the birds chirp, I found that saying amongst my breadcrumbs that I was finding in my entrepreneurship in New York City, above all places. I was born there too, but that's another story time. But I also was like, when I get scared, I feel that this critical or energy can come into this space, right? And through the journey of knowing and trusting spirit, I release all fear, right? That is a easy, magical saying, if you believe that. Clear, cancel, and release all energies that do not belong to me is a magical saying if you believe that. There was a journey of believing and connecting and being in touch with spirit to believe that in the first place, instead of doubting like what I'm seeing is wrong or evil, or you know what I'm saying? So those lessons of the heart can be attached a lot of times because of the experiences you've had with other people. And these inner thoughts from the Princess of Swords being upside down, I kind of feel like this was a journey and a process to internally process, right? Looking at the butterfly here, I don't know if you can see it, but a butterfly, before it becomes a butterfly, crystallization, right? Before that, it's not even a butterfly. It's something that's totally not it. So it's understanding and internalizing and processing these things in a way that can actually shift your mindset from negative to positive, from A to B, right? And then finding the source of your truth, right? Because there is a truth that you all individually have, and then there is just a truth of the universe, the multiverse, whatever this thing that we are all engulfed in. We're in nature, right? So it seems to me, let's see if I can get another card. Okay. Look, celebrate your wins. I just said this, right? Celebrating your wins is bringing gratitude in your energy. Is this still in camera? Yes. It's bringing energy, it's bringing gratitude, it's bringing compassion. It's bringing love into your space. Um it's acknowledging the milestones and giving yourself love, right? If nobody can do it, why can't you do it? Let me get a sip of tea real quick, y'all. I don't know if you heard me gulp down the tea, but keep your eyes on the paper too. What was I saying about how being hard on myself, I can be this perfectionist or critical, overly critical person? The perfectionist a lot of times likes to compare themselves to other people. No. The High Priestess wants to tell you, do not compare yourself. Your journey, your entrepreneur journey, this life journey, this spiritual journey is so unique to oneself. And your soul is carrying a mission for you to play out and understand, right? And you to meet and align with what it is that you need to do. But you're not going to be able to align with that without trusting your intuition and listening to your heart. So listen to your heart. Assess when you're feeling uncomfortable and recognize, are you being hard on yourself right now? If so, why? Is there a message trying to ground its way in? Right? Because the swords speak about messages, speak about communication, speak about thought, right? Um, mentalism. I don't think that's a word, but you get what I'm saying, right? Cut through the bullshit. Cut through the stuff that is not really in your truth. Stand in your truth so you can know, right? Because if you stand for something, you won't fall for anything. And then cut through that stuff, because sometimes, especially when you are working and understanding the energy of the high priestess, you have to understand what energy is yours and what is other people. Especially if you're some sort of highly sensitive person, an empath, which I believe that is part of having a receptive, strong intuition, right? And understanding how it comes through. But the empath has this feeling energy more so than um, the seeing or hearing or touch, right? It's more of the feeling. But I'm speaking as a general aspect. It can come in many different ways, right? But keep your eye on the paper. Relax. Get in tune with yourself so you can know your truth first and so you can cut through other people's BS, right? Because in that way, you can learn and understand the boundaries that you need to have up when you're working with spirit and when you're working with other people, okay? So that's my message for the High Priestess with the love message. And we're going to get into this career one. Okay, so we got 9-9, internal operations and principles. If you want to pause to read this, you can. I'll read the quote though. Documentation is a love letter that you write to yourself. Interesting. Documenting the processes ensures still waters or will be your lifeboat in a stormy sea. Wow. Build a solid new employee onboard experience. Improve common knowledge with internal wiki. Um, wiki? I don't know. Document your company process, including how to check, find, and update them. Document. So I just want to share before I even put any more on the table that document your creative journey is something that is very, very good. And it's a deep soul lesson too, because like journaling, that allows you to be the scribe, right? And the observer. And when I say the scribe is the one that is in charge of the pen and allows you to control the written experience that you're actually having through manifestation. And the observer allows you to learn and absorb all the things that are becoming downloaded to your, if I could say, your inner eye, your pineal gland, right? Like it's helping your intuition, your soul, and your crown chakra even just start popping off. But it helps you to receive. And for me, along this journey, this is where I'm at right now, because I have the blog, right? And I'm making this Oracle card deck because I have things I want to share from my documentation. Um, since young, I wanted to document because I always felt like, I don't know, I always felt like I was going to need to share with somebody. And I always felt like I didn't want to forget what needed to be said. So let's see what the career thing Maybe some of you guys are writers that are watching this, or have a career in just expressing yourself in a very verbal way. Let me see. Okay. Wow. We got aces. Both. This landed right here. Can you guys see though? I don't think you can see. Oh wow. And Two of Cups. Okay. So Two of Cups usually speaks about it usually speaks about like love, right? The connection of in a relationship of love, but it's more so relationship type of card. And to me, I believe this is the relationship with spirit. And we're talking about career. So this may be relationship with a partner that helps your business, or a relationship with a client or customer. It doesn't have to be in a loving way as in romantic, but you may be sharing that love because you're sharing what you love to do. And through this, right, you are showing up in a way that you can share your gifts, right? Your intuition. Um, just looking at the Prince of Cups, he comes through in a romanticized way to share his offers of love. So you're sharing what you love to do with your clients and with your customers, right? And you're sharing it in a way where it's actual monetized. So the High Priestess is telling you to really look at your story. Oh, I love to do stuff like this. You can definitely check out, shameless plug, y'all. Y'all can check out coyscollection.com, my link below, because I do offer design consultations that help you explore and discover this type of thing, to help you bring in the branding, right? That really is from the soul. So, if you've been documenting your journey thus far, if you haven't, okay, start journaling, um, putting your ideas in a book, but also journaling the story that made you come to realization that you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to express this through your business. This will be the meat and potatoes of your brand. This is what is going to be make you stand out in a way, because branding is a way of telling a story and expressing something unique about your brand, right? Why you stand out about what you're selling. So that part, right, is through sharing the love of whatever you went through and aligning your passions with a way that is actually monetizable. Um, all ideas aren't great, right? But all ideas are also not sellable. Um, I do feel like all ideas can be sellable once you can align the purpose and the need of who you're speaking to, if that makes sense. So, like for instance, um, for instance, do I want to share this or no? If you have a product, right, you want to create a product in a way that serves for your target audience. And this is what separates if you're doing this for you or for someone else. There's no right or wrong answer, but to a point, you are going to do it for you. You're going to start off doing this for you because you're passionate about it, right? But you might have sold a little bit of here and there, right? Okay, Spirit's telling me to go to a lemonade stand, right? So there's thousands of lemonade stands, right? If you have a lemonade stand, right, and you place a lemonade stand somewhere that, like if you have it outside of a restaurant, that really wouldn't make sense, because the restaurant, people are going to the restaurant because either they really like the chef, they like the food, they like the ambiance, they like the experience, right? But if they don't know you and you just have a lemonade stand out there, they're like, well, why can't I just get the lemonade from the restaurant? The restaurant might not sell lemonade, right? You need to understand that and document, right? Um, you need to also document the experience, because something may have worked where you do wind up getting clients and customers outside of the restaurant because you're lemonade and they don't have the lemonade, right? You won't really know that because it's not documented. But if you don't have anything, you'll learn through that process, through that experience, that that was the wrong location to begin with, right? Another example with lemonade. Everybody knows lemonade, and anybody would, you can have a lemonade stand. But what makes your lemonade stand out amongst everybody else? Maybe it's a story that comes through, right? And when you have a story, right, that maybe I've been making lemonade for years, since I was 5 years old, and it taught my grandma. It helped me like connect with my grandma. There's a bird staring in here. That never happened to me. Sorry, y'all, but it helped connect with my grandma, right? Those people that resonate with that story are going to buy your lemonade because they with it. All right. But those people that don't resonate with that might see like, okay, that's a dime a dozen. You know what I'm saying? But you can start building your brand around this. And this would be where you start having marketing ideas, right? Like logos. You wouldn't build a logo that looks like a, I don't know, Art Deco type of emblem, right? If your story is about building it with your grandma, the lemonade, you know? So there's certain things here that you have to document and actually help you understand internal operations and principles, which I find so blessed that Spirit is literally showing us. High Priestess is literally showing us what I've been screaming at the top of my roof for top of my lungs for a good 3 years about how spiritual entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey, and it goes hand in hand, right? As within, so without. Internal operations. We were just talking about looking at ourselves internally, to our internal thoughts, and loving ourselves, trusting our heart space, right? And here we are now seeing the business side of having to look at the internal operations, the things that people don't see. How is this machine, how is this idea meeting the outside world, the clients, the customers, and expressing it in a form that people understand, right? The people that truly understand are your target audience. It doesn't necessarily mean that you want that to be your target audience, because you have to choose who your target audience is. But it would most definitely make sense to build your target audience around people that understand what you're doing, right? So that way you can align with your passions, feel very good about what you're doing, and feel more in line with people that understand, right? Like I'm a product of speaking a certain language to someone that doesn't understand it. I felt like I was speaking Chinese to people that spoke, I don't know, Swahili. They never knew Chinese a day in their life. Did that make sense? No, it's a communication barrier because they don't understand what I'm talking about, right? And here we go, projection. How are you projecting yourself, your expressions, your business to the people that actually are in tune with you, right? Pun intended, y'all. On the back of the deck, we have springtime and renewal. And literally right now, I'm recording this where I think we're like 2 weeks away from spring. This can help you renew your business regardless of whenever you're watching this. But there's a new way that you have to understand how you are projecting what your beliefs are onto within your business to the people that you're talking to, and realign it with your passions more, because that will allow you to literally have an idea, or what people say, $1 billion idea, right? It'll help you understand an idea that is fruitful, instead of feeling like, oh, my idea isn't worth crap, because you're speaking to the wrong crowd, right? Again, who would set up a lemonade stand in front of a restaurant? Unless that restaurant is cross branding with you and helping you promote your lemonade because they don't have none, then it wouldn't make sense. You have to make it make sense. And again, High Priestess is allowing us to receive the words of wisdom here that you gotta align. You gotta align with spirit. You gotta align with your heart. And you definitely align with your mind, heart, and spirit. It's a reason why that um, tagline, right, has been floating around for years, because it's true. When you have that alignment, just like what Reiki helps you do, going full circle here, mind, heart, and spirit, you're actually aligning with the energy bodies that make you whole and balanced, so you can ground that spiritual energy, those ideas, into your reality, which manifestation. Okay. So I hope this message resonates with you. I'm totally leaving it right here. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments, because no question is a dumb question. Somebody might be wanting to ask that question, and there it is, right? Also, just say hey in the comments. I love to see them, and saying hey actually supports me to boost up the algorithm, and other people can actually get this great videos that I'm making, right? And I love to see whoever's saying hi. Like I've had people directly tell me like, "Hey, I like your videos." Okay, thanks. Say that in the comments, because I would love for you to just. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the support. So that's a way that you can support me, by tapping that button. If you haven't subscribed already, if you're feeling the vibe, please subscribe, right? And also put it in the comments, right? I love to see the questions. I love to see the comments, and just drop a hi if you'd like. Okay? So the next one, we're going to be getting into a pick a card reading for my special VIP members over at the Queen of Wands Club, where we're going to be having the High Priestess message, right? Do a pick a card reading and see what the High Priestess wants to share with you. It feels more like a personal reading, because, you know, I don't have thousands of followers, I'll be quite frank. And so, it might feel like a personal reading to you. But regardless of that, it's just a fun way to really tap into your intuition too. Pick a cards are always fun, because it always helps you understand what, applies to your intuition and doesn't, what you let it fly, right? And what else? If you're looking for a personal reading, I'm here for you. You can check in the links above. Send me an email, not above, below. Send me an email. And if you're a VIP member, you already know how to contact me, and you can get your special discount. Um, is there anything else? No. Just come on through to the Queen of Wands Club if you're down. If you're a YouTube person, subscribe, because there's plenty more videos that come through like this. And until next time, y'all, I'm outie. Peace.